This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We are off and running on a Monday evening. Happy NFL Draft Week. The playoffs are both the NHL and the NBA are here. They started this weekend. Matt, I'm back from vacation. I'm feeling good. A lot of consuming of NFL draft content. A couple of bets fired away today. I'm ready to put together that mock draft. You're wearing a great sport coat I've never seen you wear before. I mean, I'm just seeing all different types of things today.
Yeah, I've worn this thing 7 or 8 times. I try to.
Must be on the days I'm not here.
I think so. Now you've seen it, so don't forget about it. I'll tell you what I haven't seen too often is Tim Murray's face reddened by the sun.
Look at that. Yeah, went out there, SPF 50, even SPF 50. Sometimes those UV rays from Florida get through.
South Florida beach is hard on that pale complexion.
That is, yes. Yeah, we made sure to get as much shade as possible, but every once in a while I had to step out into the sunlight. But I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go.
I can see you out on the beach with your iPad reading NFL draft news, right?
Scanning through.
Listening to Todd McShay's podcast.
Speaking of Todd McShay, he's not on the show, but we do have a couple clips from his podcast, as well as a couple clips from Daniel Jeremiah, Dan Orlovsky, Tom Pelissero. A lot of news coming out today regarding the NFL draft, a lot of movement in the betting markets. We have a new favorite to go number 5 overall. We've got some great guests on the show for the NFL draft. We've got Connor Allen from 4 for Football. We've got Tony Pauline, one of the OGs covering the NFL draft. We've had him on the program before. And our own Ryan Kramer in the final hour of the program. We'll also go behind the counter, Matt, with Johnny Avello later on this hour. So a whole lot on the NFL draft. And we've got 4 playoff hockey games and 2 NBA playoff games. So let's just jump right into it. Let's get into the VSiN Primetime Game of the Night.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the Primetime Game of the Night.
To quote Matt Youmans, as noted Clipper fan Jonathan Von Tobel walked out of the studio after hosting Follow the Money with Paulie today, you got to feel great about the Clippers. And as any Clipper fan would probably say, can you ever feel great? But they're a 1.5 point favorite here tonight, Matt, against the Denver Nuggets on the road after, fair to say, blowing Saturday's game?
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot in the NBA. A team will squander a game late, and I thought the Clippers did that. They kind of gave it away to the Nuggets, lost in overtime in game 1, and that ended up being a 2-point game. If you had the Clippers plus 2.5, very lucky that the officials did not blow the whistle with 0.9 of a second left when Jokic took the inbounds pass. Should have been fouled. Didn't call it. Game over. Nuggets win by 2. Clippers cover, catching 2.5. So here you have the zigzag line adjustment here for game 2 because Clippers, I thought, were the better team for majority of the game. Nuggets came back from double digits down to win. You got to think, all right, most bettors are going to like the Clippers here in game 2 to tie up the series. Well, you were 2.5 point underdogs in game 1. Now you're a 1.5 point favorite in game 2. But I do like the Clippers. Like I said, I bet the Nuggets in 7 in this series at plus 390. Nuggets in 7. Thinking it goes the distance. I got the home team. I got the best player in the world, and I got about 4-1 odds, right? So you'd like the position you're in going into game 7. I still think this is going to be a long series. It probably goes the distance. And tonight, the Clippers probably bounce back and get the win. You brought up a good point. Russell Westbrook hit a key 3 late in that game on a pass from Jokic, right?
Yep.
Found him in the corner. Russ drains it, talking smack. He's full of confidence now. He'll probably come out tonight and shoot like Fred VanVleet did on Sunday night for the Rockets. And that was not good. I think it's fool's gold, right, when Russell Westbrook starts knocking down threes, and it could be bad news for the Nuggets. He's going to be firing away tonight. I just thought when you watch that game, Kawhi Leonard was kind of quiet most of the game, capable of playing a lot better than he did. This could be a Kawhi takeover type of game where I think he brings it tonight, and the Clippers find a way to get even in this series. They looked like the better team to me in game 1, and I've got to play him here down a game tonight. That's a lot of ways, a lot of series. You like to play the zigzag type of pattern. And I know it's not a secret. We've been talking about it for 30 years. You don't play it in every series. But in this series, I do kind of like it with the Clips tonight.
I'm with you. I don't know if that's scary or not, but I played the Clippers. Our friend Chuck Esposito, Stations Casino, they run a little game of the night special. So if you bet a particular team on the money line, you get a little boost. So I did play that boost over there. But minus 120 is the money line around town, around the country. So that's the way I rolled. I think it is fair to look at a potential in-game angle. This game obviously starts later tonight in that 10 o'clock Eastern hour, Matt. But looking at the betting splits, interesting to note here at DraftKings, 52% of the bets on the Clippers -1, 65% of the handle. Flip that over to the money line, 48% of the bets on the Clippers, 69% of the money. So more money flowing in on the Los Angeles Clippers. The bets almost split right down the middle at DraftKings, courtesy of our VSiN.com betting splits, Matt. But I think a lot of the points that you hit on, I'm going to echo those. I thought the Clippers were the better team for the majority of that game on Saturday afternoon. Ultimately, the Nuggets get it. And betting against Russell Westbrook, and I know, insert your jokes. I'm sure Chris Macero somewhere out there is ready to fire a James Harden joke. James Harden played well. Russell Westbrook made a big shot. So both of those guys historically have not fared well in big moments, but I really liked what I saw from James Harden. I thought that floater was working quite well, and I do expect a big night from Kawhi Leonard. So I am with you. I am in on the Los Angeles Clippers, played them on the money line, and that game is our game of the night, which will get going here later on this evening in the 10 o'clock Eastern hour. First up, Matt, on the hardwood, we do get the Detroit Pistons, who I think you could make a strong argument that they were the better team in New York City for three quarters. But then that fourth quarter came around, a 21-0 run for New York. Game flips, and the New York Knicks able to win game one. And right now, the New York Knicks, a 6.5-point favorite. This game going to tip off bottom of the hour here with a total of 221.5.
Yeah, I'll just say for the record quickly, I did play a small bet on Clippers -1, but I'm going to live bet this tonight too, because we talk about it a lot. When the line's won, either way.
Oh, yeah, we'll get swings.
Yeah, we're going to get swings in that tonight. They're going to be runs both ways. You could probably get a better number than Clippers -1. I think it's a very good bet. You're going to get better than Clippers -1. So I am going to look to play the Clips tonight. I don't really have a play here in Pistons Knicks again. Talking about the zigzag, and you want to play the team that lost in game one, but that's not true in every series, and I'm not going to play it here tonight with the Pistons. It looked like mid-third quarter on Saturday, the Pistons were in pretty good position against the Knicks. I don't know where you were, Tim. You might have been on the beach, not paying attention to this game. But the Knicks went on a monster run in this game to blow it open. I think it was
21-0.
Yeah, 21-0 run to blow this game open and take out the Pistons in game one. Pistons look to me like a young, talented team that's probably going to take their lumps here in this first-round series against the Knicks and then come back, better, stronger next season. Like you have to, a lot of times in the NBA, you got to pay your dues and get knocked out of the playoffs before you can make a run the next year. Pistons, do they fit the category of just happy to be here? Just happy to be in the playoffs after one of the worst seasons in NBA history a year ago. Again, talking about the point spread, which is the equalizer here tonight. Knicks laying 6.5. I wouldn't lay it, but I'm telling you, I'm just not betting the dog in this one. A lot of times I look to bet the team that lost game one.
On the ice, we got 4 games, 2 playoff series about to get underway, including Canadiens against the Washington Capitals. Capitals, the top team in the Eastern Conference, pretty significant favorite tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And then we've got Jets and Blues, Avs and Stars, as well as those series both started over the weekend. Winnipeg and Colorado both winning game one. And then late night tonight, we get the Oilers and the Kings as that series starts up, where the Kings a slight home favorite.
And I've heard very strong opinions on both sides of that series, the Edmonton-LA Kings series. I prefer the Kings, I think, in that series, even though I haven't played it yet. I did play something in hockey last night, Tim. I'll get your opinion here. I played the Vegas Golden Knights -190 last night. I think they're a strong play to win that series.
Yes.
I bet the Knights to win the series. I bet the Knights in game one, Knights to win the series. And a third play, I parlayed the Knights last night at -190 with the Caps tonight.
Ooh.
Washington Capitals tonight at -185.
Right.
How confident are you the Caps get game one at home tonight?
I want to be confident. I've got shades of 2010 stuck in the brain. Yaroslav Halak coming into the nation's capital and taking out the president's winning Capital team, but I think the Caps should take care of business tonight. Now, it is worth noting, you take a look at some of the movement here, Matt. We've seen a little bit of movement towards Montreal, but not too much right now, $1.85 on the Caps. So for your sake, is this game about to get underway? Hopefully my hometown Washington Capitals, top team in the Eastern Conference, got a little well-rested after Ovi got $8.95 there against the New York Islanders a couple Sundays ago. Yeah, hopefully the Caps take care of business, because that was a no-sweater for you last night with the Golden Knights.
Well, there was some sweat. There was some sweat last night. I did not play the puck line, and that was a wild finish last night with the puck line. We'll talk about that a little bit later on when we talk more hockey. We got a lot of NFL draft to go through tonight, and a quick baseball update, Tim. The Yankees down in Cleveland. We just saw a 3-run homer. I'm not sure who hit it. I just looked up and saw the ball flying into the stands. It's Guardians 4, Yankees 0, top of the 4th, and Cleveland here closed the underdog. Yankees with Clark Schmidt on the mound, minus 125 favorites, total of 8.5, and again, 4-0 Cleveland right now.
Jose Ramirez was the gentleman who hit the 3-run homer, and then Manzardo went yard after that. Hey, Matt, we've got a special NFL draft edition of VSiN Primetime coming up on Thursday night. It'll be you, me, and Matt Brown starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, and then cashing out the draft edition will follow at 11 o'clock Eastern. Make sure to check it out, vsin.com/draft, if you want to listen and watch. And speaking of the NFL draft, we're going to talk to Johnny Avello, Sportsbook Director for the DraftKings Sportsbook, coming up bottom of the hour. What movement have they seen in the draft market? Matt, we know Cam Ward's going 1, but where will Shedeur Sanders go? We'll have some news, some sound on that. We'll hit that on the other side. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. We're up and running. It is VSiN Primetime on a busy Monday night.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Busy night ahead of us as we've got 2 NBA playoff games, 4 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs as well underway in the nation's capital, the Washington Capitals, hopefully hoisting another Stanley Cup. I don't think it'll happen, but that would be nice.
Just win game 1.
Just win game 1. That's all that Matt Youmans cares about. So we will be keeping our eyes on what's going on the ice, on the hardwood, and of course, Matt, coming up on Thursday, you, me, Matt Brown will be on the air live during the first round of the NFL draft, which has become quite the betting endeavor for us here in the betting market. We saw a lot of line movement today on some particular markets. We'll certainly get to it, including maybe Ashton Genty could be going before the Raiders get on the clock at number 6 with some movement today. But it all starts with the quarterbacks. People are very curious about the quarterbacks, especially when you've got someone of the stature of Shedeur Sanders being a part of it and the uncertainty of where he could ultimately go. So, Matt, what we do know is that Cam Ward is going to be the number 1 overall pick. And if you're wondering what those odds look like right now at DraftKings, if you'd like to place a bet, Matt, on Cam Ward to go number 1, all you have to do, and you've got this type of money, put $20,000 down on him being the number 1 pick, and you'd win $100.
You know, I'm not going to make that bet. What happens if he gets hit by a bus on the way to the draft?
That would be an unfortunate situation.
That would be sad. I'd hate to see that happen, but there are bizarre ways you could lose a bet
that is true.
I would not bet $20,000 to win $100. I'll tell you what was a good bet. I was trying to grab the date on this. I was talking with Matt Shrewsbury, affectionately known as the Shrews, the Parlay King out of Fresno, California. He's a big-time Cleveland Browns fan, right? This was about 3 weeks ago. I said, who do you think the Browns are going to take? Because I thought there was a great opportunity out there in the betting market. This on April 6th at DraftKings. Travis Hunter went from the underdog to the favorite to be the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Tim, 2 weeks ago, again, April 6th, Travis Hunter was minus 130 to be the number 2 overall pick. I wanted to make that bet. I was trying to zero in, is that the guy the Browns are going to take? Because I felt like that was going to be the guy for the Browns. Mm-hmm. When you've got Myles Garrett, you don't really need Abdul Carter, right? And Travis Hunter can impact your team in so many different ways. Well, now that minus 130 on Travis Hunter to be the number 2 overall pick is what?
Minus 1,000.
So we missed the boat on that one, right? There was a great opportunity there to bet Travis Hunter number 2 overall, and it looks like that's a certainty. So number 1, number 2, we know what those picks are going to be. I think, is it fair to say this draft, so-called, starts at number 3 because we're not sure that Abdul Carter is going to be the pick by the Giants at 3, even though that's the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, he is still a minus 600 favorite. Those odds have moved a little bit in his direction, but it is worth noting, of course, that NFL draft betting markets are not necessarily indicative. They move very quickly on news that is out there. I still would be a bit surprised. Would I be stunned, Matt, if it was not Abdul Carter going 1? No, but I would be surprised if it's not, going number 3. But it brings up the quarterbacks. And with Cam Ward going 1, we know there's at least one quarterback going to be selected. Mm-hmm. And then the question is, all right, how many quarterbacks in totality will go in the first round? This is always a very popular bet to be placed. Last year, easy winner if you bet the over, right? 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12. Easy winner if you had, I think it was over 5.5. Bada bing, bada boom. You're out by 12 picks in. You know you've got a winner. This year, it looked like 2.5 was going to be an easy winner with all the news about Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders, maybe even Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck. Who knows? Maybe we get 4. But now there's starting to be a little bit of uncertainty. So I want to play this from Todd McShay's podcast, the Todd McShay Show, part of The Ringer. And this is what he had to say. This was a podcast he recorded, Matt, on Sunday night, just talking about what he had heard from around the league. So this is Todd McShay on how many quarterbacks could potentially go in the first round.
It's for which one of these guys could we possibly get later on, and we want to know which one we might prefer, and maybe we like 3 or 4 of them there. Maybe like 2 or 3 of them there.
We literally had this conversation a week ago. Dan, correct? Dan Comer's in the background, right? About a week, maybe 10 days ago. This is about the second wave of quarterbacks. And I felt like I knew it. Now it's like I know it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm proud of that, like, because sometimes you got to put a little football analysis into it. Here's the other part, and now like, we're off the Shedeur thing now. Shedeur's, if he doesn't go 3, if that tug doesn't somehow like reach an impasse and get bigger than what it reportedly or allegedly is right now, and the Mara family has to step in and something happens that's unexpected.
So that was part of it, and then there was also a moment in that podcast too, Matt, where he said he had talked to someone in the league, and that's, once again, you got to siphon all these things out and say, all right, who could potentially be a look there? Who can you trust? But he said one person he had talked to said it was more likely that there is 1 quarterback in the first round than 3. There's a whole bunch of news out regarding Shedeur Sanders, which I'll get to from Adam Schefter today, from Albert Breer today. But I will mention this. Yesterday, over 2.5 quarterbacks at DraftKings was minus 360. Right now, it's minus $2. So you've seen a pretty significant shift in the market. Still the favorite, but a move of $1.60 towards the under in this. And that went from plus 260 to plus 150 to the under 2.5 at DraftKings, quarterbacks in the first round.
All right, so going back to that McShay clip we just ran, what exactly did he say there that was a key part, the key information?
So it was a different clip than I thought ultimately we would grab, but regardless.
I was trying to figure out, why did we just run that?
Yeah, so The New York Giants, as of right now, it sounds like there's not an agreement in the front office what they're going to do with the 3rd overall pick. John Mara, from all accounts, has not stepped in and said, we're doing this. And what's also worth noting, I thought this was interesting from, I believe this was Schefter's reporting. A lot of news came out of, the Giants. They scheduled a private workout with Shedeur Sanders.
They're doing that with all the quarterback candidates.
Scheduling a private workout for Sanders on Thursday initially seemed like a big deal, but it was not as big as it seemed. The Giants did the same thing with the top quarterbacks they considered in last year's draft. They had visits and or private workouts with Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix. This year's privates workouts came later and closer to the draft, but that was only because Sanders held his pro day on April 4th.
Well, the Giants, I think, have to you're walking around the used car lot, and you got to check out everything that's available. Giants are desperate for a quarterback. It's not going to be, I don't think, at number 3. Tim, to the Giants, and I was talking about the Browns and what they were going to do at number 2, and we had a lot of mystery at the time. I thought it was going to be Travis Hunter, but I was trying to find out from Brown sources, is it going to be, do you think it's going to be Abdul Carter? Nobody was quite sure, and then all of a sudden the information starts to come out that it's going to be Travis Hunter. The Browns and the Giants are both going to be in the market for a quarterback here, but it's probably going to be early second round, or those teams trade into the back end of the first round and get their guy, because maybe the Browns and the Giants both like the same guy.
Right.
Is it going to be Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders? I don't know. I've heard that the Giants like Shedeur Sanders, and they also really like Jackson Dart. And I'll get to some proof of that here from an NFL source here in a couple minutes. But I think the Giants and the Saints both have eyes for Jackson Dart. Giants also like Sanders. Apparently the Steelers like Sanders and Dart. And the Browns might be focusing in on Jalen Milroe, believe it or not. So I think it's highly unlikely that you're going to get 4 quarterbacks in the first round. And it's starting to look like a coin flip that you're going to get 3. It's a great bet you're going to get 2, right?
Yeah, I think you're...
It's a great bet you're going to get 2. With that third quarterback, it's going to be kind of a coin flip. And then, hey, there's a chance that things go crazy and you get a 4th quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the third quarterback goes late first or early second. The 4th quarterback's going to go early second.
When the price was plus 260, I took a little nibble last week on plus 260. At plus 150, probably not anymore. But I thought anything north of $2, I thought was worth a look because of the possibility and now the perceived drop, and that the Pittsburgh Steelers, this was according to Adam Schefter today, sources said the Steelers had not been planning to draft a quarterback in round 1, but they were also not expecting Sanders to fall out of the top 10. Now, all options seem to be on the table, and they are preparing in case they have the option to draft Sanders. Let me ask you this.
How did the Steelers not take a quarterback with their first-round pick? How do they not? They have no plan for the future. If they like Sanders, if they like Dart, don't they have to make a move for a quarterback?
And they have no second-round pick. Remember,
they have no Aaron Rodgers.
They traded for DK Metcalf, so they have no second-round pick as well.
How can you draft a running? I've seen some mock drafts show the Steelers with a running back in the first round. How could you do that? How could you take a running back in the first round, not a quarterback, if you're Pittsburgh?
Hey, folks, unlock your winning edge with an unbeatable offer. Get full VSiN Pro access to everything we do now through August 1st for only $59. I got the wrong read here. We'll do the Edge Boost read on the other side of the break. But just a reminder, vsin.com/subscribe is where you can get a great deal for just $59 all the way through August 1st.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is VSiN PrimeTime here on this Monday evening alongside Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Underway in the nation's capital, no score between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. This is an important game to some. Matt Youmans over here, needing it to close out a money line parlay from last night, wrapped in with the Vegas Golden Knights as they took care of business in their opening round game. And coming up in just a little bit, Detroit and New York, game 2 of that Eastern Conference first round series later tonight, Clippers and Denver. Always great to check in with Johnny Avello from DraftKings Sportsbook, who joins us right now, courtesy of our progressive guest line. And Johnny, as I look at it right now, New York, a 6.5-point favorite at your shop, total 221, a 21-0 run, got Knicks bettors to the window on Saturday. Are they back for more? Are they laying the lumber today? What have we seen on Detroit and the Knicks?
Don't be fooled by the 6.5. We opened 7. We are at 6.5, but with a little more juice. We are seeing Nick money again. That's no surprise to me. And will need Detroit tonight in the game. In the second game, they are betting the Clippers. We opened up Nuggets a small favorite. We are now Clippers 1. They are betting that game under, though, under the original total of 219.5. So, but with so much time to go, not going to be surprised if we at least balance that out.
Yeah, that's. I think the betting public's probably going to be mostly on the Clippers side tonight in terms of the zigzag to get even in that series with the Denver Nuggets. Johnny, just quickly, Stanley Cup playoffs. Right now we're watching Montreal and Washington. Midway through the first period, scoreless game here. Were you watching last night, and what impact did it have when the Vegas Golden Knights scored an empty net goal with as time expired, the puck crossed the goal line, and they win that game by 2. 4-2 goes over the total of 5.5, and Vegas covers the puck line. Did things like that matter to you much at all as a bookmaker? Was the handle much on that Sunday night game?
Yeah, for Knights covering the goal and a half wasn't good, and the total going over wasn't good. But you can't confuse the DraftKings network with the Las Vegas Books network.
Right.
I mean, these guys are, they every time the Knights play, especially in a playoff game, people are out there laying the goal and a half. So they probably took the worst of it on that more than we did.
Yeah, I know it was not a good result for the Vegas Sportsbooks last night with the Knights covering the puck line 1.5, winning by 2. How about tonight? Anything stand out to you? 3 games on the schedule: Edmonton at the LA Kings, St. Louis at Winnipeg, and Colorado at Dallas.
Yeah, they're laying the Kings a little bit against Edmonton. Edmonton did not have a good season, a lot of injuries during the season. Draisaitl is, I don't know what his status is, or is he, how physically he is ready to go for the playoffs. But, I know McDavid's there. And but they are laying the Kings against that Oiler team who was the favorite going into the NHL season. They also are taking the Dallas team at home. They're taking that's just straight up spread. So money line. So those are the 2 plays tonight that I'm seeing early.
Talking once again at Johnny Avello, who joins us courtesy of our Progressive Guest Line. Johnny, Matt and I are going to pepper you with some draft questions here in just a moment, but take it a step back, looking at the weekend that was. How did you guys overall fare with all of the 8 first-round series starting in the NBA?
Pretty good. First of all, it's not like we've been doing so great this year. I mean, NFL, the NFL chalks kind of hurt us. The March Madness chalks kind of hurt us. So now we're into NBA and NHL playoffs. And so far, handle's been good. And so far, things are going pretty good. So I hope that trend continues.
All right, Johnny, let's get to the NFL draft on Thursday. We had Derek Stevens in studio with us. What was that, a week and a half ago? And he said, I hate the draft. Are you of the same sentiment? Are you, as a bookmaker, not a big fan of the NFL draft?
I love the draft.
Great. Love to hear it.
And I'm going to tell you why I love the draft. Yes, it has been a difficult proposition to beat. Starting back in 2017, I think was the first year we did it. We didn't do a lot on it at that time in town, and we were closing the draft 24 hours before the draft even started. So it was difficult. Of course, it's an information-based proposition, and it is difficult to beat, but we're getting better at it, guys. We really are. At least at DraftKings we are, and we got a lot of props up. So I expect to beat this thing now every year and not lose to it.
Wow, tough talk from Johnny Avello, DraftKings Sportsbook Director. I like to hear it, that you love the draft and you expect to win on the draft. I did say today, Tim, do you agree with this? I said this is going to be the toughest year yet to bet and win on this draft. I think there are fewer props up, the numbers are tighter, and this draft could be wildly unpredictable after the first few picks.
I would agree with that because it feels like there's a lot of groupthink out there, and after 3, maybe even at 3, as we talked about just a segment ago, it could be very unpredictable as to how this thing unfolds.
Johnny, Ashton Genty, the Boise State running back, there's a lot of speculation surrounding him. He could go as high as 3 or 4. He could go number 5 to Jacksonville, number 6 to the Raiders. Do you have a couple of odds makers who are staying on top of this, watching the information, watching the numbers move, adjusting as they go? Because it seems like Ashton Genty is one of the hottest topics right now, a few days out from the draft.
Very true, Matty. You're right. The first three, I think Ward going 1, Hunter 2. I think Carter to the Giants is 3, unless the Giants want to throw a wrench in here and take Shedeur Sanders. I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? That would be a big surprise. So let's just say those 3 go, like I just said. 4th, Patriots could take Genty. I know they're looking at him. We've taken some money that way. If they don't take him, most likely Jacksonville takes him, and he never gets past 6. 6 is that would be the highest he would go. So we've taken money on Genty under 6.5, and you got to lay some pretty stiff juice now to make that wager.
Johnny, Ashton Genty, by the way, the prop at DraftKings right now under 6.5 minus 290. This morning at Circa, that was minus 160, and then moved to minus 210 in the afternoon. So a lot of money, a lot of movement here on Ashton Genty going in the first 6 picks.
Johnny, I want to take a step back, too, because folks who might be new to NFL draft betting, maybe not know with line movement, how quick, how aggressive are you guys on line moves? For instance, I saw Mason Graham today was 5.5 even money to the over. That quickly got bet up, and I think you guys pulled it for a little bit. And same goes here at Circa. That number got steamed, I think, all the way out to minus 190. So how quick do you guys move on bets when it comes to NFL draft?
There's a lot of sharps bet in NFL draft, and you guys know that. I mean, sophisticated guys, this is kind of like their Super Bowl. So we move rather quickly. We stay on top of the information. Sharp bets come in. We're moving aggressively. We have to move this aggressively because of the information based. This is not a game on the field where A is playing B and we got some number that's 6.5 and some sharps laying 6.5 and we say, okay, we're holding. That's not the way this one moves. We move rather quickly on that information. We move quickly on what we see. And that's the way you have to do it here. And that's when I tell you before, I'm expecting to make money. That's, those are the things you need to do to get into the positive side.
How many quarterbacks do you believe will go in the first round, Johnny? I'm looking at the DraftKings odds right now. Shedeur Sanders, draft position 8.5, over minus 400. Jackson Dart, the Ole Miss quarterback, his draft position is 24.5. Do you think we'll see 3 in the first round?
I do not.
No?
No. Shedeur Sanders, where does he go? If he doesn't go to New Orleans, then he drops all the way down into the 20s. And so now we've got 2. And then so where does Dart go after that? So I'm thinking 2 right now, but we'll see.
It's interesting, Johnny. I was just poking around on DraftKings earlier today, and the over-under price was minus 360 to the over, plus 260 to the under on quarterbacks in the first round. It's now down to minus $2 to the over, plus 150 to the under. Is that movement by your team, or did you see money come in on that particular prop?
We've seen money come in on that one. Dave did bet under the 2.5 quarterbacks. We did take some over money, but they've been aggressively betting that under, and I kind of agree with them on it too. So, there's some things that could shake this draft up. Trades.
Yep.
Trades could shake this thing up. So, how many trades are there going to be in the first round? Is there going to be 2, 3? Hard to say. But if that happens and anybody wants to move up, well then, maybe Sanders goes early. Maybe there is 3 quarterbacks. But as of now, the way it's set, I think you're only going to see 2.
Johnny, always appreciate the insight.
Bye, guys.
Good stuff there from Johnny Avello, both on the NBA and NHL action tonight, as well as the NFL draft. We'll unpack some of what Johnny just said on the other side. It is VSiN PrimeTime.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Busy night on the ice and on the hardwood as the Detroit Pistons currently have a small lead over the New York Knicks. 15-14 the score at Madison Square Garden, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Live line, still the same number as it was pre-flop, Matt. Still 6.5 is where we sit for that one. A little bit of move towards the under in that game. Closed 221, and right now for Pistons and Knicks sits at 217.5 at DraftKings. No score between the Caps and the Canadiens on the ice, scoreless, and a little fracas there between Montreal and Washington. 3:02 to go in the first period, Matt. No score between the Caps and the Canadiens. And also just underway, Blues and Jets. Jets lead that series 1-0. And right now, minus $1.88 favorites are the Jets on the money line, and that one just underway.
Yeah, I'm watching the Montreal player. He's got the Caps player in a headlock from behind. And that's got to be incredibly frustrating as a Caps player. Don't you want to turn around and just knock the guy out?
Yeah.
So, what a cheap shot. Look how he comes in from behind and gets him in a headlock. Yeah, it's easy to attack somebody from behind, right? Like that, especially when you're protected by a group. This game's going to be tight. It looks like it's going to be tight and low scoring and physical. And, Tim, hopefully the Caps can grind out a win tonight, because this looks like it's not going to be an easy one. I believe their teams are tied. Just a minute ago, they were tied at 9 shots apiece. And I think the Caps are going on the power play right now, right?
Looks to be the case. I think it's going to be – there's 2 in the box on Montreal, 1 for Washington. By the way, if you're wondering, the first period –
yeah, power play for
total,
the Caps.
yeah. So Washington on a – power play here, they closed as a minus 185 favorite, and right now on the power play, they've jumped out to a minus 220 favorite. This is, as they like to say, this is Ovechkin's office. He likes to play, has scored many power play goals, and we'll see if number 8 can add another one here.
Ovi is on the ice, and we got 2 minutes and a power play for the Caps, and I think they got to find a way to score here, Tim. Let's see if the Caps can get it done. I saw Big Randy McKay. I didn't like this. Big Randy's on the opposite side. He put out a play on the Canadians at plus 165 tonight. So Big Randy is on the big dog in this one, and we're still 0-0, 3 minutes to go in the first period.
St. Louis and Winnipeg, as mentioned, under 16 minutes to go in the first period as well. That game north of the border in Winnipeg, minus $1.88 are the Jets on the live line. No score between the Blues and the Jets. As mentioned, Caps on the power play here, and looking to get the first goal of the game. You could have got even money on the first period under 1.5, and we'll see if that will be in a little bit of worry if you did bet the under there. Once again, 2 games on the hardwood tonight in the NBA. Later tonight, it's the Clippers taking on the Denver Nuggets, and as you heard from Johnny Avello just a moment ago, lots of money coming in on the Los Angeles Clippers, and Matt and I both on the Clippers as well in that one. So we will see how that one plays out here this evening in Denver. 1.5 the point spread on this one. If you are not so inclined, like Matt and I took a little money line piece pre-flop, you could always bet this from an in-game standpoint as well. So a lot of action to keep our eyes on. Also baseball going on across Major League Baseball as well. But Matt, you and I will be part of the NFL draft coverage, and I wanted to read you this. So we had played a clip from Todd McShay. I just wanted to clear something up. This is what he had to say on his website, and he said this on his podcast as well. He said, at this point, it wouldn't shock me, and this is Todd McShay, to just see one quarterback selected in round 1. It's possible a team trades up into the first for a quarterback to secure a 5th-year option, but I don't know of any obvious candidates as of this writing. More specifically, I have no expectation that the Browns will trade up from 33, and I've heard the Saints won't be drafting Shedeur Sanders in the first or second round. Jackson Dart has some love in league circles, but I'm not sure there's a large enough gap between him and my quarterback 4, once again, this is Todd McShay, Tyler Shuck, in this class to justify taking Dart over a player who's more of a sure thing. So
there's a player who's a sure thing?
I know. So just pointing that out there, that was courtesy of McShay. We've got other insiders on different players out there. I did want to play, I think you sent this in to to producer Justin. Dan Orlovsky earlier today on Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. Some believe he could ultimately be the second quarterback selected.
I hope so.
I
bet him at 2-1 to be the second quarterback off the board.
And those odds still out there as well. So we will see if Jackson Dart is that second quarterback selected. This is Dan Orlovsky of ESPN on the Ole Miss quarterback, Jackson Dart.
Yeah, for me, he's the guy that 2 or 3 years from now we look back and go, man, people are wrong on him. He's the steal of the draft, essentially. I just believe, Greeny, when you watch his tape, he's so similar to Bo Nix last year, and wow, a lot better than I had anticipated. So when you're talking about a guy that has physical traits, sees the field well, wasn't given a lot when it comes to easy offense, the ball to get pushed down the field, for me, since day one, it's been Jackson Dart as the intrigue.
So Adam Schefter wrote a big piece today from what he's hearing around the league, and this is what he said. He said, there's belief around the league that the Saints are more interested in using...
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
I think that was Ovi.
Hey, Alex Ovechkin. We called that one.
That's right.
Power play Ovi.
What was the line on Ovi to score a power play goal right there? And he does it right at the end of the power play.
1-0 Washington as Alex Ovechkin lights the lamp there to give the Capitals that 1-0 lead. And now looking at the live line here on this one, Matt, I would imagine they were at minus 220. Hasn't been updated just yet as they confirm this goal. But Alex Ovechkin, there he is from his office. That's his spot. He gets the pass on the power play and is able to get the Capitals on the board. The all-time leader in scoring in NHL history lights the lamp, gets the Caps their first 1-0 lead. They're now a minus 475 favorite, Matt.
Wow. Okay, we were talking about Jackson Dart and the Saints and all the quarterback rumors out there. Adam Schefter, I know you were reading from his column.
Yep.
There was a quote from Schefter today, and here it is. Quote, I don't think New Orleans is taking Shedeur Sanders. And by the way,
that was a personnel executive told Adam Schefter that.
Says they are hot and heavy on Jackson Dart. And I believe that too. I think, that, like I said, the Saints and the Giants, I think, are the two teams that really like Jackson Dart. And Tim, when you have competition, you certainly have the possibility of a team moving up late in the first round to draft a quarterback like that, right? If the Saints are afraid that the Giants are going to move up late in the first or take him early second, the Saints got to do something to get Dart. Saints need a better plan at quarterback than they have right now, too. Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, that's not going to get it done. Those guys are backups, and I like Jake Haener a lot, but he's a backup. And Jackson Dart, from what I've heard from a few different sources, is the guy the Saints are targeting. Brian Dable apparently likes Jackson Dart, too. All right, go continue with what you were talking about, because I think Sanders slips to the Steelers at number 21.
That would be nice.
And who knows where Jackson Dart goes, but I do think the Saints and Giants both want him.
And that's where it gets interesting, right, with the prop we were just talking about with Johnny Avello, the over-under 2.5 quarterbacks, seeing steam come in on the under today. But if there is a trade-up, whether it be the Giants or Saints to go get someone like Jackson Dart, and right now the Giants sit at a pretty advantageous spot early in the second round to potentially go get Jackson Dart. Could someone jump them like the New Orleans Saints? But this is what Adam Schefter reported today. So there was that quote from a personnel executive, quote, I don't think New Orleans is taking Shedeur. I think they're hot and heavy on Jackson Dart. This is what he said prior to that. There is a belief around the league, Matt, that Saints are more interested in using a high pick on an offensive or defensive lineman because there are questions about two starters, tackle Trevor Penning and guard Nick Saldivieri. The belief is they want to draft a quarterback, just maybe not at 9 and maybe not Sanders.
I don't think the Saints are going to take a quarterback necessarily at 9. They've got to figure out a spot where they're going to take a quarterback, though. How about this from Bruce Feldman, wrote this column in The Athletic today. And there was a scouting director quoted as saying this. He thinks Jackson Dart's going to be the second quarterback taken in the draft. The scouting director in Bruce Feldman's column said, quote, no knock on Shedeur Sanders, but Dart has a stronger arm, is a bigger man, has more mobility. I see him as a more polished Drew Lock. Kind of a backhanded compliment there. But he's saying he's going to be he thinks he be the second quarterback off the board. You know, last year I never wavered. I always said Jaden Daniels, my number one quarterback in last year's draft. Liked him a lot better than Caleb Williams. I think that when we look back, kind of like Dan Orlovsky said there, And Tim, I've been saying this for months. When we look back, I think Jackson Dart's going to be the best quarterback in this class.
2-1 right now, the odds for Jackson Dart to be the second quarterback selected. Hey, folks, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval from all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code PRIME. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. More draft talk with Connor Allen next here on VSiN.